Uh, just please confirm whether my audio is, clear. Thank you. You know, we'll start with a very interesting tool, like in the afternoon session. We'll start with this tool which is called the Testify. All right. Okay, why is Testify so important? We've discussed about how irritating these reviews can be. It may take around 4 or 5 rounds of revisions. You may get your editorial reports like uh, it's a very tiring process, as you all know. Maybe the longest I have taken was it took a paper of mine like around 2 years just to go through the editorial process. Like you'd get a report every 6 months and four editorial reviews, and they were very clear about it. But it depends on the nature of the journal, how many papers they are taking in. I mean, that particular journal, IJLS, which was not by accident but by choice, they only publish one journal every year. So it comes with 6 articles, so they're very specific regarding the selection criteria. A Q1 journal for that matter. But the most interesting part is when you go for the process, the hardest part is rewriting it all together during the process. Why don't we look at a pre-submission review for that matter? If you go with this particular tool, once you upload your paper, it comes. Can you just on your screens now? When you upload a paper, it comes with a feedback and a review like this. Can you see this? This is a science article which when the last session was with a engineering audit. So basically, it did it for them. What you see here is how brilliantly it gives you a feedback. This is not the feedback that we're looking at, but it is pretty long. We'll just show you the things as well. So,
I have a question. Like,
yes.
If we upload these papers, will it be safe?
Brilliant question. Actually, what they actually do is very interesting. They whenever the very moment when you basically start an account with this particular website, they make it very clear that the content won't be shared with a third party, or it won't be used for training purposes. So they'll fundamentally restrict it to just private access. So that is clearly stated, because it's also very sensitive and the tool only focuses on pre-submission assessment. They've made this point very clear. That's the guideline right now. We can be pretty sure about it.
It is safe.
Yes, I mean, yes, because most of these tools were really free actually earlier. I mean, why am I going with this? Very simple. The usage increases now, not just by the parameter of how many people use it, but also by how many universities vouch by it. So I think for Testify, including Stanford, major universities actually, assess this as something which is reliable. So we have got even the funniest part is that we often think that the AI tools that we have right now, they're actually time tested like anything. I mean, even academically tested. We have got papers coming out on effectiveness of AI tools in writing, comparative analysis of AI tools. Actually, you can use an AI tool to find out what is the best AI tool again. You can ask consensus whether consensus is good enough for tool. It will go for research papers, find out whether consensus is good enough. These are just intermediaries, basically. So, we can also look at the privacy policies and preferably avoid the thumb syndrome, which I'd like to call it. So, we often have that, tendency to go with I accept every now and we never read that entire document. Like what is the privacy policy regarding a particular tool for that matter. But this is considerably safe. If you go to Testify, the best part is they'll start from like the very foundations. They'll find out whether your title is good enough. For example, can you see the suggestions here? Suggestion for titles. Then it goes for abstract. Like if abstract is not clear, if abstract is too abstract, they'll make it concrete for you. Like they'll properly, guide you through the process. Not just that, they'll ask you certain interesting questions, even regarding whether the paper is a thing after all. Like they'll ask with this question called, so what? In research, I think you don't need, I mean, any researcher for that matter won't need any other quote under his, like on his desk. You just need these two golden words, so what, regarding the relevance of your research. I hope I'm doing my research on A, so what? I'm doing my PhD, so what? I mean, you should basically listen to, I know that there are people from outside Kerala. I think the perfect translation of that comes in Malayalam. Ayini is a thing. Not even Adine, but I hope you get the thing. So when we basically do our research, they'll start with whether this is relevant at all. Okay. And then it goes for introduction part, methodology part, then the results part, discussion part, use of evidence part. See, use of evidence is the most impressive thing. Evidence and thesis statement. You say that A and A leads to B, or two variables, and you say that A leads to B. And have you been able to, prove that with evidences with the first question? So they'll basically look at the paper and find out whether it has been met. And they'll also give you in what part of your thesis, like your paper, have you clearly stated this? Do you have a strong evidence supporting the thesis statement in your paper? Very simple. You start with this argument that A leads to B. You'll have to prove it that inevitably leads to B. Then you also have to look at opposing evidences which are available, and you'll have to prove that why it is wrong. You getting this? So you'll have to challenge the existing arguments. Have you done that? So they'll also look into that. And poorly integrated, this happens, even though the first two doesn't happen to researchers very often, the third thing actually happens. Poorly integrated evidence that contradict the thesis. We often contradict our thesis in a brilliant way, and we are artists in it. We start with A leads to B, A leads to B, A leads to B, and somewhere in the middle of the paper, we'd say that B has got nothing to do with A. Then we would again say in the conclusion that A leads to B. So it contradicts our argument. This is something that actually lurks in. It's very natural. A paper is as complicated as a researcher's mind is. So you often end up doing this, but the funniest part of it, they'll point this out. And evidence missing, a quotation. So I still remember a guide of mine doing a brilliant thing. See, why is evidence missing a quotation? That problematic? Have you done this in your research papers earlier? I know that there are seasoned researchers in our august audience, but when we begin our research, we are all, for my entire experience in the world, my year of experience would be the year of teaching experience that the one of the conveners of the program, head of research, her entire teaching experience would be my age in total. So we are talking about researchers who are beginning their work. Often we state without citing. So are there evidences that are missing a quotation? We simply say that this leads to this, and we finish it off. We go for general statements. In a research paper, there is nothing such as a general statement. You can say a general statement. I still remember my first draft of my an earlier project I did. I saw my research of bound volume of my research, findings actually flying down the third floor just like a crow, because my
the supervisor at that point of time just threw it off. The very simple reason is that the introductory statement was general. How dare you do this? And he gave me a very good advice as well. Every year, a fellowship would fetch you 50,000 rupees. 5,000 rupees is enough for providing water to a household. And at the cost of, water being provided to 10 household, you have created the scrap. And he threw it off. This is what exactly it does. It finds out evidence missing a quotation. Can you see this here? Online, I hope it's visible, what I've highlighted right now. Right, thank you so much. So this particular part that I've specified here actually finds out evidences missing a quotation. The data should have a citation to the source of the method or previous studies. Include citation for data points to enhance credibility. See, set aside enhance credibility. For credibility, you need reference. Research paper should always be referential. You can't create data from thin air. So again, interpretation of evidence. This is the most integral part in a research paper. And it also provides you how effectively your your research paper, how it uses evidence to support its claims. See, often we use this in a very different way. Have you noticed this? We often go with a research paper, we provide evidences, and we say that everything is done and goodbye. That is not how research paper should work. It should get you to the course of the, the core of the problem. Then you will have to provide evidences, then analyze them in multiple ways. Are the evidences good enough would be the first thing. I mean, obviously, citation, you have seen that citation analysis part in Trinka, that would basically work with the quality of the citations that you've chosen. But have you analyzed the citation? For example, if you want to find out, let's say that, okay, I'll contextualize this from one of my experiences. Let's say that I wanted to find out a particular person who wrote by a pseudonym called as RBP. Okay, this is a very famous person. So eventually, I found a particular statement. I mean, let me be very clear. Let me give you that paper. It is already published, so no need to worry about. While surfing through one of the books published by Kerala Sahitya Academy, there was this reference by the legendary professors Elamkulam Kunjanpilla and Professor Moosad. So this was referred to by Vishnu Narayana Nambudiri, the legendary teacher and poet, in his book on freedom songs during the British Raj. So there is this particular work, it's in Malayalam, Malayala Sahitya Swandra Samaragalatha. It's a wonderful book. So you've got the footnote saying that RBP was a pseudonym that was used by the renowned journalist Swadeshabhimani Ramakrishna Pilla, according to Professor Elamkulam Kunjanpilla and Moosad. So this was basically a wow moment for me because I never knew that he wrote poems. You had to, you could have done two things. One was to cite him and just say that, come on, it's him. The second option was to find evidences right from the source. So I had to go to the archives, basically spend 3 to 4 months out there to find out whether this was the right person. We got the collection. Now we have got a logical flow. Finding out evidences, following a hook, finding out British records, which actually refer to this person, RBP, as Swadeshabhimani Ramakrishna Pilla, citing those government orders, making it clinically valid. Are you getting this? So analysis is the most important part. You shouldn't stop with the person referring to this person as A is B. No, is A really B? Then you'll have to find out evidences, analyze it, then add it. I mean, it's very simple. It's a very core of empirical thought. It's not sheer statement. You experiment with it. See, experiments has got, we often think that it's all about the science experimentation, inference. See, these experiments are always there. Even for us, even when we write our research papers in humanities, we call them scientific writing. Why do we call them scientific writing? What is science at the end of the day? Something that can be validated by evidence. In any condition, this can be validated by evidence. For us, why do we do scientific writing? Our work is not bogus. We should have claims regarding this. Do we have data? Will be the question. See, often we think about writing research papers as writing a poem or a story for that matter. Writing a paper has got this particular methodology which is incredibly helpful. We are trying to chronicle our past, present, and even predicting our future using evidences which are available. I hope it makes sense. So evidences are very important, and analysis also important. And how should the analysis be? And will the analysis do? No, they'll also look for weak analysis patterns. Is there a dull pattern followed? What can be done to basically improve this? Restating a claim rather than analyzing. This is a critical flaw that we often follow. So we will become politicians when it comes to research papers. A is B, A is B, A is definitely B, A is B, hence proved. We'll state it 4 or 5 times, we'll shout it, and basically it is done. So we'll have to, analyze or do the analysis of the, evidences as well. So, and then they'll basically give you recommendations regarding quality and types of evidence, interpretation of evidence, and they'll also tell you where to find this in the text. Like, what should you change? At what part should you intervene? Rather than rewriting an entire part, they'll tell you where should you intervene. And they have shown the audacity, like they've shown the the basic propriety required here is to leave the modification to the researcher. Are you getting this? They are not dictating that you should add this. No, they're saying that there is this weak pattern that we have detected. You are the expert man. Go correct it. Because they are looking at the process of research writing, not the writing itself. See, I think often the thing that we miss with methodology classes can be, comprehended here. We are taught about style sheets. We are never taught about research. We're taught about everything other than research in our research methodology classes. The science of research is a very different game altogether, and this is exactly what is done. I think rather than going with an entire 6 months course program on research methodology, you can just upload a research paper and find out what research is really about. Rather than getting a correspondence course to study swimming, you can basically get into the water. That happens here. So Testify can be incredibly helpful with this part. Now, it's not even, there are other domains which are important. For example, how many of you know top 10 researchers in your field right now, updated 21st July 2026, who are the best? How is your field doing? Like, how is your field doing would be the question. When I received this particular question from one senior researcher, we've authored a paper, Alex Shortkin. The first question was not, how are you doing? It was, how is your field doing? So how would you identify the trends in your field, the R&D in your field? How would you basically do it? That is where the most arrogant website comes in. I am, and perhaps the arrogance knows no bounds here. Very simple. Why? I hope you can read this. Synapse comes with this particular tagline. As you can see here, we are better than Google Scholar. They should have stopped there ideally, but we mean it. They were making this, pretty sure. For example, I can just go with artificial. Is a website visible online? Again in Meet. Thank you. Sorry for constantly asking this. I still, I'd still vouch on, I'd still trust human beings more, at least in certain instances. So if you just go with artificial intelligence and authorship, or we can go with a very simple psychoanalysis. I mean, if you just go with psychoanalysis, basically what you see here, oh, come on, this is not something that is impressive. This is basically, listing of papers, top papers, by number of citations, newest first, etc. But the best part is to go with a paper. A paper will have research topics which are tabulated. Can you see this here? Under every research paper, sub areas would be specified. If you go with a sub area, psychoanalytic theory, you would see the publication trends in the recent years. Can you see this here? Over the last 26 years, for 20 years, how has this particular research area flourished with specific, you would see this curve and you would find this very interesting. For example, in the last few years, artificial intelligence, if you go with the metrics of artificial intelligence, you'd see a spike, like how steadily the area is growing. You'd find out like how incredibly interesting this tool is in finding out why is this really important for us. Oh, come on, man, you're just showing another metric. No, identifying R&D trends would empower you to be financially empowered as well. Why? What is a primary requirement for research? People would say hard work, I'd say money. Money is primarily required. Money buys you a significant amount of peace, and obviously peace is required for research. University Grants Commission doesn't give you a, they don't give you a sabash after you write your, if you're after you write your JRF, right? They give you money, hard cold cash. I mean, brutally honest, but being honest as well. So it's all about money. Research is all about money, and money makes research possible. And to identify whether your area is a place where money is being, showered on, the best way to identify is how many papers are published in that area. Research, you know that logic, right? If there is smoke, there is fire. If there are more papers, there is fund as well. Are you getting this? R&D, the logic is very simple. The more the production, more the money. Now, this is why it is very integral to find out whether your area is trending or not, or to take a different side, switch to a different side. I mean, you'd be arguing against me on another ground here. You'd say that, come on, man, you can't select your area based on whether money is coming in or not. But that is how academic business goes. You would have to look at your pockets before a researcher, I shouldn't say this, but a researcher, when he looks into his pocket, he'll have to see two things. Pen is one, money is another. So you'll have to have, you can buy the peace of mind with money, then you can start writing in peace. That is how the process goes. So to find out whether funds are there, grants are there, etc., you'll have to follow this process. Think about it. Ideally, this should have been the first tool that I should have introduced today, to find out trends before you step into research. Is your field doing really good? Is the field emerging? I mean, for example, you would identify this very, incredibly clear when you basically go for a search for COVID-19. You would see the spiking somewhere around 2019. And there is another interesting tagline that would peak around this period: fear. Or, if you go with psychoanalysis, or if there are psychology researchers here, they would see that how people with depression. The funniest part is if you go for depression, if you go for anxieties, if you're going with related disorders, you'd see lots of papers popping up in 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. Isolation. This chart that you see here is not sheer representation of papers published. It represents money. It is actually a virtual history of our living. I hope you understand this. Oh, so research is not a dead area where you basically, collect papers and just keep it as such. It's a representation of our everyday existence. This is one way of finding out trends in your field. All right, is this clear? Now, I have another question for you. So we've seen pre-submission assessments. We have seen Synapse. There are tools which actually provide everything at once. For example, if you go with AvidNote, AvidNote, AvidNote would present you everything that you need. I should say that with all conviction, I would say that this is a supermarket for research. I mean, have I forgot my password? Very good. Okay, can you see the AI templates here on your screen right now? Translate this, ask this question, ask anything, solve problem, grade the student, plan my lesson, design an exam. Code interview, you define how, grounded theory, narrative analysis, analyze data with framework, suggest interview question, extract data from a paper, sentiment analysis, analyze interview, analyze data, suggest research conference, find idea for new studies, revise text for journal submission, suggest a title, plan my study. I don't know what research has got to do with Twitter or Twitter has got to do with research. Anyway, they have included it as well. I mean, visibility might be a key in research as well. Suggest journal, research proposal, critique this, what is the opposite view, explain this, summarize text, proofread this, rewrite this, notes, drafts, historic overview, write anything, write literature review, write introduction. But why didn't I introduce this tool to you? Like all of these works. But the problem is that when you completely automate your research, research in general has become reassessment of what has actually been reassessed. I hope you got it. Now, when you use AI, the problem is that it become reassessment of what has already been reassessed, which was actually a reassessment of what actually was reassessed. So it follows that grand chain. The problem is that it will provide you, data which is heavily hallucinated. You can't source back this to the core of what we have discussed. See, if you're really insistent on using GPT or Gemini right now, I would not ask you to use them in isolation. I mean, this is one good way of doing it. If you go to AvidNote, the best part is that if you've got audio notes with you, like classes, audio, which you have to transcribe from Indian languages, I'd call this the best one. So as you can see here, you have got a long list of languages, including Indian languages. You would see Tamil, Telugu, etc. here. If you've got a 120-minute long audio clip of a lecture which you want to convert, directly go, upload it, and it will convert the entire audio to a transcribed, file. But if you ask me this question regarding what to do with, if you're really insistent on using ChatGPT or Gemini or Meta, don't use them in isolation. Go for something called as Vercel's AI Playground. You can compare top models side by side. Actually, can you see this here? This is how the platform actually presents itself. So you can just add GPT Pro. So you've got, I'm adding Gemini. Can you see this here? What I'm doing? This drop down menu. I'm selecting, I can go for, okay, GPT-5 Nano. So what I've done here is to go with Grok, DeepSeek, Gemini, and GPT-5. If you're still insistent, I know that we have this habit of going from GPT to ChatGPT, then searching for content, basically working out. And I can go for literature review on on borderland studies. Okay, I mean, this is not the ideal way of doing it. If I am just going with this, it will generate the content. I mean, hopefully in a single go. Okay, just a second. Don't mind that. It will generate anyway. Wait for it. Have I logged in? Yes. No, I haven't signed it. 1 second. Okay. Can you see this here? This is a free version, okay? They'll ask for all these things in the Go. Don't mind it. Skip it and go. Can you see this here? At the same time, these things will be generated. Now, FYI, if there are teachers here who are also researchers, if you want to basically, have you done this before, converting these searches to notes if you are interested without overlapping? Control Alt, and then there is a tool called as Brisk, which is available. Okay, if you're teaching somewhere, which you can install actually, Brisk teaching. It will present like this. Sorry. Create anything, presentation, quiz, whatever you need. You can directly basically do it, and they'll also ask you for what particular grade that you want to do this one. University, 12th grade, whatever you want to select, just save it. What language do you want to create this on? And you can then ask to create it. Now it will basically create presentations. So what aspect of thermodynamics from the source should be presentation emphasis? So they'll focus on the content on a particular screen, convert it entirely to presentations or whatever you need. Now, see, research is not always about. I mean, this is just an additional thing that I said. Like, if you're doing your presentations as well. I mean, this can also work well when you want to create a presentation PPT with your research paper. Just open it, highlight the content that you basically want to work on, then you can create your PPT completely from scratch. See, in research, our 70% of time that we spend on our research is basically on things that don't actually make sense. Rest 10-20% is on procrastination and 10% is research. So to avoid that, this would be a good way of doing it. I mean, I know that it sounds weird, but this is what happens. So every research department is a den of master procrastinators, like anything. So see, if you want to work on research also needs a sounding board at times. We are individuals who feed on isolation, researchers in particular. We'll have our duller versions post our research, really worn out, as if every researcher would become a Kafka at the end of your research. We are cockroaches at the end of the day. I mean, not to speak of cockroaches right now. But I mean, I was referring to Kafka's cockroach, nothing political. But at the end of the day, there is this particular question that comes up: do we need a sounding board? I hope you are using Notebook LM. But Notebook LM helped me in a very different way altogether. For example, if you go to Notebook LM, if you are new to Notebook LM, like I know that there are few people who have not started using it. Notebook LM creates for you individual brains with which you can work with. Like Nietzsche's famous saying, if you don't have a father, get a father. I'd say that if our research brains are not enough, let's get another brain. I mean, a second brain is always good, where you can add in your, if you're starting your research and if you want to brainstorm, or if you're starting a paper, if you want to brainstorm properly, upload your papers here. Can you see this? Upload your papers here, or websites, or your drive links, or even text. Once you upload it, I'll you'd say that, come on, this can take in complicated files. No file in the world would be as complicated as this. This is Mahabharata, and I've uploaded just the Adi Parva of Mahabharata, the translation, what you can see here, the prose translation. So this one that I've used here is from Kisari Mohan Ganguly's famous translation, where I've uploaded Adi Parva. Let's say that I need a sounding board. I need to listen to what my corpus actually talks to me. This can be replaced by anyway research papers. This can be replaced by YouTube videos. See, often, why do we attend seminars other than sleeping and basically taking a good nap in our conference rooms and meeting our old friends? We come to research conferences so that we get sounding boards. Basically, we are not trying to listen to others. We are actually trying to listen to our own mind voices. Actually, researches make sense when we can actually connect with ourselves. Seems a bit complicated, but we meet others to meet us, is a thing. So same thing happens here. When we want to do research, we'll have to know what our thoughts are. For that, we need a sounding board, especially in humanities. What it does is that, what I wanted was, for example, in Mahabharata, what I wanted was to have, an explanation of these three things in a debating mode. What I did is that I came here and I wanted to create an audio overview. Okay, so this is incredibly helpful when it comes to your research part. You need that debate to go on. So I just wanted to, and you can select your language whatsoever needed, irrespective of the content that you've uploaded. It can be Malayalam, it can be English, or anything. You can just select whatever you need, and you can select the length of it. You can either create it as a brief, critique, or debate. So I created a debate rather than showing you what it is. I wanted to create it in such a way that it is an Akashvani talk show. Okay. So this was in English. Know how much this is audible.
In which every age may see itself.
A mirror for every age.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to pull out the profound psychological nuggets hidden right here in its opening pages. We'll meet a blind king entirely trapped by his own hindsight. We'll explore this ancient therapy of cosmic insignificance, and we'll look at why treating a story like a living, growing tree changes how you understand it.
It changes everything about how you interact with the text.
So let's just jump right in. Can you set the scene for us? Where does this
English
epic
version
actually begin?
Well, the frame of the epic opens in a physical space called the Naimisha Forest. A storyteller, a man named Sauti.
But I was astonished at the originality that the Malayalam script actually provides. Audio.
ലിഖിതങ്ങളിലൂടെയോ അറിവ് നേടുന്നതിനേക്കാൾ എത്രയോ മടങ്ങ് ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുള്ള കാര്യമാണ് കേൾവിയിലൂടെ അറിവ് നേടുക എന്നത്. അതിന് അങ്ങേയറ്റത്തെ ഏകാഗ്രത ആവശ്യമാണ്.
അതായത് മുഴുവൻ ശ്രദ്ധയും അവിടെ തന്നെ ആയിരിക്കണം അല്ലേ?
കൃത്യമായി പറഞ്ഞാൽ അതെ. ആ മുനിമാർ
വെറുതെ. So you would basically look into your own corpus again, which is very important when it comes to, it's almost like you're attending a seminar. You'd have these voices speak back to you. You can create videos, you can create your PPTs. If heresy in research has got a limit, I'll show you something that has surpassed that limit. For my PhD open defense, I've used notebook LM to basically create my PPTs however I wanted it to be. So if you're looking at your, show you this one. See, and it's incredibly beautiful as well when it comes to your. You want to see it, like how clear it was? I mean, this is from the PhD part. It's dealing with the AI framework for authorship. How is a rhizomic AI model developed? Eight node hyperdiffusive network. Machinic texts are formed. Can you see this? Like, you're talking about abstract theory that has provided a concrete representation, which works incredibly well. So this is how your content is generated, how you use this as a sounding board. How many of you have got a habit of reading, I mean, listening to your research papers? There is this platform called as Audemic, AUDEMIC, which is Audemic. It's an AI tool which can actually convert your research papers to short audios, which you can listen to on the go. Not that I want you to listen to this in the evening as well, like post your work. But the thing is, Audemy can be of incredible help if you want to listen to your research. Even think about it, mind maps. Have you, when we think about research, we often find it hard to, properly arrange this. Or when you brainstorm ideas to create mind maps, it would be incredibly useful. Have you used Mapify? MAPIFY? AI summarizes. If you go to Mapify, even the most complex concepts that you want to basically encounter, if it's just even if you want to compress a PDF complete or research paper completely into a mind map, so that you don't have to read everything, just to look at what are the important points. Converting your document, an ebook, even think about it. You're even converting an ebook, or see, you have even got an option: a research paper, a YouTube video, a video file, whatever you have. What it does is that, let me just show you something here. You can just upload it, or you can basically go for a web search, or even a general web search would do. Research possibilities in gender studies was a question that I've raised. Oh, you'd say that, come on, this much? Can you see this one? Emerging areas and future directions. Can you see this one? Which means that rather than, this works for us. Our attention span has been, hijacked in some way or the other. So the thing is, either go play the game with time, revolt against the system, grow old and die, or to basically enjoy the times, be happy. I prefer the second one. Then you will have your segments properly divided. You'll have your every single segment. Can you see this here? Policy, advocacy. I was just asking for like, what are the options in gender research right now? Methodological innovations. What are the new methodologies that are evolving? Then you have got thematic research areas with high scholarly interest. So they'll be dividing it according to our requirement, which means that rather than reading an entire paper, this was around, I think the paper was around 7-8 pages long. Rather than reading the entire thing, we are saving time. And you don't have to feel sorry about not reading a paper. We are reading it in a different way. We are not skipping it. We are looking at the core, the essence of the paper. So this is what a good teacher does. A teacher saves you time. Why is it that our teachers are considered so important? They've burned their time so that we may save it for our future. If you really feel sorry about it, think about your daughter or your father or your mother for that matter. You are saving 5 minutes here so that you can spend that extra with your family. AI helps build good families. So you can be so ethical about it. So think about your son or daughter or your immediate friend or your lover for that matter. You're spending some good time. You're not compromising on research. You're not compromising on your relationships. Very simple. So I hope that works. It can't get more ethical than this. So this is one way of doing it. So you save time here. Again, here also there is a problem of how data can be manipulated. Let me tell you what is the clearest risk that we have right now. It's not about plagiarism. Plagiarism is just a game of words. See, that's why I said at the very onset of the session that the bigger devil is in the details. I mean, we are not addressing the elephant in the room right now. The elephant in the room is data manipulation that we are looking at. I'll cite you a very famous PhD thesis from one of the very prominent universities in Kerala. I'm not specifying which paper or which scholar. Revealing the scholar will make me lose a friend. Revealing the university would get me into a defamation suit. So I'm not risking a university or my former university, like for my friend as well. The paper was on menstrual hygiene and taboos among two districts in southern Kerala. And the researcher wanted a particular parameter to be marked around 98% for her research to be proper. What was done was a clinical case of data manipulation. The data was to be collected from 700 school children, okay, from high school students, 10th and 9th. The kids are not born, their parents are not non-existent. The data is valid. Are you getting this? Data, even the point from which the data was collected was manipulated. You'd see the longitude and latitude, you'd find it somewhere around in the outskirts of the town or by the side of the MC road. You'd find all these being properly plotted. But the funniest part is that these data is non-existent. You would say that, come on, you can question it. No. If you go questioning it, they would say that there is no informed consent in sharing the data. Because this is sensitive an issue, so that I can't basically share this data with you. This is a problem that you're going to face. Think about it. The research dissertation published will be the primary data, secondary data for studies that will be created later on. You'll be creating data based on a fake study. I don't know whether there are any such studies going on in medicine, or aviation. You would understand this only when flights come down, actually. Are you getting this? So for us, it's also very interesting. For us, the threat lies in how, I shouldn't be saying this in a seminar because we are specifically focusing on humanities. Our perspectives, the way in which we look at history. History is a lie. History is always a lie, told to suit one's own ways. It's a one-side story always. Whoever says it, think about it. The papers that are constructed will be based on data which the program dispenses. The selective data set will decide the outcome of the result. What will happen to our history? What will happen to the dominant narratives would decide what is true and what is not. The threat lies there. Nobody talks about it. Everyone is so concerned about plagiarism in research. In research, this is a threat we often overlook. Tomorrow, your taste, your cultural, outlook, everything would be hijacked. I hope this is conveyed across properly. But this is a crisis that we are looking at, not a game of words. A Grammarly can do less harm. A plagiarized document can do less harm. Data manipulation would be the key. Now, which takes me to the data analysis part. So if you have got data to be analyzed, what is a tool that you can use? Non-manipulated data. People often do brilliant things with AI. They will ask for anomalies in data that is observed. Then they would correct it manually. Don't do it. Data analysis, the first place that I take you to is Julius, Julius, Julius chat. Yes, I've got a message in the box saying that it also creates podcast episodes, to listen to in any given topic. They sound so realistic. It is almost scary. Playing the devil's advocate. Obviously, I mean, often people call me the devil itself, but thank you. I've got a upgrade. So what happens here is that if you've got a spread, like if you've got an Excel sheet, you want to do the analysis of that particular Excel sheet that you have received. You want to picturize it. You want to visualize it. You want to do an analysis of a specific parameter. This is how it works. You can just upload whatever file that you have right now, and then you can start asking questions. For example, once I've uploaded a data sheet of around 4,200 pets. Okay, what I've done here is that, I'm not showing the process because it takes time. You can just upload, add files whatsoever you have. Then you can start. Once it's added, it shows up in a particular window like this. Can you see this here? It will basically do an analysis of what the file is. I have uploaded the following files for you to use, and they'll give you a quick search of what is happening. Then you can just ask your question. So the question that I have asked, like you can see the chat box here, right? So you can just ask the questions. I asked for, this is a data set that includes different types of pets. Dogs are there, cats are there, then their breeds are there, then their allergies are there, then toys are there, the ages are there, weight is there. So I wanted to ask a list of allergic cat owners and their favorite toys. Okay, can you see this here? Number of unique owners who have cats with allergies, 332. Favorite toy preference among these allergic cat owners, and they'll also provide you visualization as well. I hope I was just giving you a very simple example of how this works. So you can basically work on this particular part in a very easy way. I've also seen scholars using this in a very different way. They'll instead of using a CSV sheet, they will also upload multiple studies on a similar area which involves data. Talking about quantitative analysis here, and they do a cross check as well. There are actually more research papers on research papers than research papers itself now. That's a big difference that you often see right away. The primary data is almost non-existent. Just like how Churchill referred to his father when he was asked, like, what is your fondest memory of your father? He said that my father is like God Almighty. He was always busy elsewhere. So similarly, data is more like father now, like original research that we see. It is busy elsewhere. At least not in our domain. So what happens to research right away is that it has become more easier for us. The accessibility is easier. As you've seen in reading part, you've got explained paper. The quick searches, you've got consensus. But the funniest part is that why are we doing this at the end of the day? Is it to make us more lazier? Is a question. Simple answer is no. You can do whatsoever you would require with it, but for what? Let's do a cross section of a research paper. A research paper, it starts with bluffing, ends with bluffing, introduction, conclusion. It basically boasts about it, which is basically relevance of the study. Then we'll talk about how have I done this research, which will be the methodology part. Then you would gently move on from there to a more interesting part, which is what others have done before. Then that will be literature review. Then you would say about what others have done and I intend to do, research gap. Then you would basically do the thing. Think about a burger, okay? and think about the lettuce in it. You know what part of how much of that burger let the lettuce occupies. That's the original thought right now. Maybe less than 10%. Why? We have been busy doing the other work, paper hunting. It's not. It's see. Leave AI being ethical or not. Research ecosystem itself is not ethical in any way. It's a more unethical place you can ever think about. In this one, you would see this 10. If we can extend this 10% to 20 or 30, just by deputing things that can be done by machines to machines, it will bring forth a sea of changes. Sure, you don't ride bullock carts to colleges now. We won't even settle down for anything less than 200cc in our bikes. 250 would be the baseline. Just for the sake of earlier days, we won't settle down for anything less in our daily lives. Why should we settle for less in research as a question? Depute your literature review to your machines. Ask it to find papers for you. Analysis you can do for yourself. Data analysis part, deriving the data from existing data sets can be deputed. Finding out journals, you can depute it. See, otherwise, how are you doing it? You would ask your friend to find out a research journal which can take in your paper. You're asking the same thing to a machine, right? It's a low cost, low maintenance friend actually, a machine, like a program. So at least there is no emotional issues involved. Research being introverts, this will be highly, helpful as well. And we are more that if J.R.R. Tolkien is to live right now, along with hobbits, you have created a more weaker, more emotionally, susceptible, tribe called as researchers. So we are very sensitive. So to deal with that sensitive part, you will have a machine assistant to basically deal with your worries. Now, if there are questions, I'd like to take up. I'd like to take a few questions as well right away. I think most important part is that we'll have to ask ourselves questions, mark our dissent. Disagreements are also very important, which you can mark as well. Anything other than manhandling is accepted. So, any questions or any specific queries that you would like to ask? The list will be shared with you within half an hour or so. But questions, please. Or I can share it right away. See, in India's Guru Parambara, the highest, pedestal occupied, Dakshinamurti occupies the highest pedestal, where Guru barely speaks and student never asks question. See, we don't want to follow that tradition anyway, at least in this case, ask questions. So we'll go for questions.
Sir, you already
Yes.
told about the journal bias. Normally, we have some journals, about our research study. So, will it be normal for a journal bias?
Yes. So the question was regarding those who have not heard. Ma'am was asking this question regarding journal bias being a critical flaw. This is why they have marked that as a moderate risk. But I was referring to the ethical issues if you go with a particular journal, just because of political or philosophical viewpoints. It's exceptionally okay. For example, they would even mark Nature. If you cite more articles from Nature, they would even mark that as bias. It's just not something that we can agree to. But here the problem is that if you are dealing with a sensitive topic, which is we are talking of it's philosophically or politically very delicate, it's highly recommended that we include. We don't need our data to be so homogeneous in its nature. We need that variety coming in so that we can look at it from different angles. So if you're trying to solve a problem there, we'll have to source data from multiple perspectives. Because for us, it is very integral that that's why I said that dissents are also to be marked clearly in research. So if you just go for a particular journal catering to a particular thought or a political narrative or a philosophical stance, it's highly likely that our research will be stunted in its growth as far as a proper research document is concerned. So that is the only reason. It's absolutely brilliant if we can, I mean, it's absolutely acceptable. That's why they have not marked it as a critical flaw. Specify and the electrons you mentioned which in this finding optimal workflow. So okay, so I received a question about an optimal workflow of how to deal with this. Let me tell you, basically if I want to start working on a specific area, the first thing would be familiarizing myself with the area, which would involve me finding out which are the top studies in the field, where Synapse can help me. So I'm just stumbling the order right now. Okay, Synapse can help me, or Site, SCIT, which is also provided as an alternative, which can help me identify what is happening around in the world regarding a specific field, to find out a specific subfield, to find out whether that is worth working or not. I can go with a particular field. I can basically look at a specific subfield. I can start working on it. Clear. If I get the papers, I can list them in Google Notebook, for example. Start familiarizing yourself. It's an alien territory for you. If it's an alien territory for you, start familiarizing yourself. Listen to it. Go for conferences. For example, how many of you are still okay? I'll also introduce that. So if it's an YouTube video, would you listen to the entire YouTube video, like 1 hour 40 minutes? Don't listen. Go for websites like for your videos. Try to chat with those videos. I mean, YouTube has got a feature, but not up to the mark. What it does is that just a second. Go to the app. It was a free utility until yesterday. I don't know what is today. No, we don't trust machines. Machines don't trust us is a thing. So it's asking me whether I am human. I don't. Oh my goodness. Try again. Talking about trust issues. Yes, it's me. Just a second, okay? Wife and okay, feel better. Okay, right. This happens when you trust your wife with your Gmail ID so that she's less lazier than you. So what happens here is that if you have got a YouTube video link, you can just paste it in here, so that this is a 1 hour 15-minute long video, okay, on machine learning, which I basically wanted to study. So if you go for it, you can see the key points, summary, transcript, and for me the most important thing is this ask part, where I can basically look for if there is a particular thing specifically discussed in this video. If I'm so focused on, is it there or not, is a question. So just ask it, and if it is not there, you can move on, or you can basically ask for questions which you actually need to address in that particular video. As I said, research is a game of specifics. So if it's videos, if these are videos, if these are files that you ought to read, create an ecosystem where you start reading. Notebook LM can help you with it. And eventually, listening to it would basically lead you to a question that you would like to ask. To validate that, you can go to consensus. That is where the game begins. Consensus can also be helpful in another way. If you are doing your research right now, I know that one critical issue that you are facing, I can't find a citation for this particular statement. This would be something that you'll be worried about, right? Come on, how could I cite this? This is a general statement that I'd like to make, but come on, I'll have to cite it somehow. Simple thing, take that to consensus, paste it there, so that it will find out research papers that actually validate that statement. Are you getting this? I hope you understand. Thank you. Thank you so much. So that you can find articles which can actually validate your particular statement, so that there will be no general statement whatsoever. Now here, what happens is that once you create that ecosystem, you start asking your questions, then move on to a deeper literature review. That is where elicit comes in. Once you do your literature review, the next part would be to scaffold it properly, your research part. Okay, scaffold it properly would be your next part. And okay, and to scaffold it properly, it requires you to have another interesting tool that we discussed in the morning, Jenny. Jenny would help you to scaffold it properly and to start writing. Now, after that, don't go back. Till this point, you can use, ChatGPT or any general purpose tools. But after this, if you are sourcing data, you should not go with general purpose tools after this. This is the point. This is where your general tools actually stop. This is a checkpost. After this, your data should be completely sourced from what you've collected so far. The communication should be pretty valid. Now you can try communicating with these corpus properly through chats or audio chats. In Gemini, go back and try to communicate. See, these are the arguments that I have in mind. Then it will primarily try to reflect on what are the studies present in the already taken corpus which reflects your ideas. You can start agreeing or disagreeing with the already available corpus. That is where research is actually a debate as well. I mean, a very healthy debate. We are trying to disagree or agree with our early researchers. So this is where it is facilitated. So this is a part from which you start, and then you go with your Trinka, where it can help you with your grammar. It can help you with your style sheet. Trinka will also lead you to Journal Finder. You lost your connection. Is there a problem? Am I audible? Oh, right. All right. Thank you. Okay. We'll be focusing on, okay, so we're talking about Trinka, right? Trinka is a place where you start finding your research journal, which can take in your research paper. You search for using your abstract. If you're really lazy enough to write an abstract, use the same method that my student used. Go for Thesify and find out writing your abstract. Use the abstract, modify it properly. It needn't be always perfect. Modify it accordingly. Use the same in Trinka Journal Finder to find out the journals. At least, To send it, you will have to use your index finger. That is the only thing that is left. Machine, or maybe in future, maybe Mr. Musk is developing Neuralink and upgrades as well. So maybe in another few years, we don't even have to talk. I could sit back at my home at Trivandrum, basically transmit ideas. Beautiful world. This is a thing that we are talking about. So all the other things come in. See, research ecosystem. Why I refer to, in the title, I was not referring to research paper writing. Research ecosystem. You're saving your time on the go. Whether it's videos, whether it is communication, whether you're connecting with the world, finding out research trends. See, this ecosystem itself requires a revamp. Right away. AI is just a catalyst. The way in which we have looked at research, it has changed over the last 4 years. If academia is to thank someone, it should be to a capitalist. I think should I say this? We should all thank Ambani every other day for the faster data that we get now. Ideally, along with Saraswati, we'll also have to place an idol of Mukesh Ambani right away, because the accessibility, the speed, and you will understand this if you have witnessed what happened before the digital revolution that happened. Every other day, you would go to libraries, wait in that small room which is designated as the IT cell, and the librarian may or may not come. Librarian was more like monsoon, unpredictable at that particular point of time. Even if not the librarian, the technical assistant, the photostat machines may work or may not work. Eventually, you end up waiting in the long line for the BSNL uncle to come, take care of good things, and go. So things have changed from there, and we have reached this particular part. SciSpace would be a good alternative. I got this question from Navratan Jat, where does SciSpace fit into this workflow? See, Elicit and SciSpace belong to the same category. Instead of using your Elicit, you can use SciSpace. Vinita ma'am, sir, are there any AI tools related with fine art subjects, like on a research context or a performance context? Now, can you be specific as well? In your option, which AI tool is best for creating videos for teaching purpose? There are actually multiple teaching tools that I've listed. Can I send it right now, Betsy ma'am? Can you share it right away? So ma'am will be sharing a list of tools right now. I've listed the tools in there as well. So there is nothing like a best tool for a purpose, actually. It depends upon the purpose that we have. I'm just sharing the list right away. Okay. Right now you will get this one. Let's see, ma'am. Yes. Ma'am, I've shared this. Now, there is another thing. If you want to hunt for papers, next thing would be somewhat illegal to say, but Sci-Hub has been closed down. There is this particular, if you go to Telegram and search for Science Nexus, there is this thing called Science Nexus or Science Nexus bot. It will be there. Just paste in your DOIs and the papers will be there. So Science Nexus is actually, there will be multiple bots showing Science Nexus. Few of them might be working. Install it, try chatting with everyone. One find one will work, one won't. So try messaging randomly. So the papers will be 100 down. 100 down would be research being a jungle, hunting us be good. Again, research context, ma'am, many of these tools can actually work. But the aesthetic part, I'm not sure about. Yeah, as an English researcher, anytime a sentence is written with proper grammar and punctuation, it gets flagged and plagiarized content. How do we? Are you talking about Priya ma'am? Are you talking about AI plagiarism? Hello. Yes, Nanota. The one good way of doing it is to break the sentence into parts. So often conjunctions can help you with AI plagiarism to a great extent. Break your sentences into two or more parts if it's a longer sentence, or knit them together. These are the two ways in which you can do it. So even if it's too perfect, it can be flagged. So one way is it, knit sentences together, add conjunctions. Basically, you mess around with the structure. If it is flagged unintentionally, if it is flagged, don't do it intentionally. Unintentionally, if it is flagged, knit them together or break them down. These are the two ways in which basically you can do it. Okay, I knew you were an Android when you mentioned nothing is more ethical than AI in research, so that you can spend more time with family. Perfect. And the funniest part is, but beyond anything, there are certain things. What differentiates we are almost at a situation where AI equals human. But AI can't define certain things. I don't know how many of this community belongs to liberal arts in particular. AI can't teach a poem, at least a subtle nuances of experiencing it. AI can't make you experience the delight that you'd feel when you've done a wonderful lecture. AI can give you that feel when, that particular feel when lights go blaze, when you basically listen to a concert. It can't give you the butterflies. Most importantly, AI can't let go. It can never try in any way, it can never tell you to let go. This is from one of my favorite authors right now, who was written on AI. I'd highly recommend that you read that particular author. Christine Hemsworth. Christine Hemsworth basically I'll share the book if it's okay. I got a PDF. So what she does is that, what she says is that in human beings are two weird creatures. Like, we often think about love in a very different dimension. AI only knows this: if you love something, you will have to possess it. When human beings love things too much, they let them go. Getting this? You love things too much so that you let them go. AI can never comprehend this, nor any logical thinking machines, because humans are illogical. These are nuances that machines can't comprehend. And there is the other part, which I have not even talked about in the session, the aesthetics. Experience of arts is something that AI can't do. These are facts, papers. We have been discussing about dull, drab, dingy stuff, that part of arts, right? About being curators, archivists of culture. To be what Coleridge referred to as a suspended, a state of building suspension of disbelief. You might be a atheist, but when you sing Purandara's Kritis, I've been a performer all my life of Carnatic music. When you sing a Purandara Dasa Kriti, at least for that half an hour, you'd believe that you are the most beloved bhakta of Rama or Krishna. You'd sing as if you are delighted in the presence. You'd dance in the moonlight of bhakti, like an emotion. You'd sing of love. You'd sing of passions. And you'd dance in it, still knowing that you are just performing. How can AI explain this? It can give you a detailed lecture about cuisines, but can never experience the very feeling that you would get when you get back home and eat from your mother's. There are things which are inherently human. I don't know even if you can call them human. AI won't replace humans, but for us, researchers, teachers, a person who knows AI tools would replace us eventually. And if you are still not feeling ethical, let the government say things very clearly. Have you ever seen such a document called as National Artificial Intelligence Skilling Framework 2023? So I've left the policy for the end. So if you're still not convinced, uh, if you don't want to spend that extra 5 minutes with your child, government wants you to. If you go to National Program on Artificial Intelligence Skilling Framework 2023, if you go to page number 29, if my memory takes me right, yes, 2029. Just look at the level of competence that you ought to have by the time you complete your 11 to 12. Maths and statistics for AI libraries, tools and frameworks, everything that we discussed today. I mean, kids will be coming to our classrooms in the next few years after having competence in these areas, even in their class 12th. AI libraries, applications of AI such as NLP, computer vision, usage of AI tools for basic AI applications, need for handling data security and privacy. On the recent data, 2023, Rajya Sabha, question number 229, Unstar. You can search for it. I'm not bluffing. Right away, search for it. You'd find this. The question was asked regarding AI policies in research and teaching practices. Dharmendra Pradhan, who's also a very controversial figure now, right away answered the question as if the government has got clear intentions of including AI as a mandatory requirement in research and teaching. The vision is clear. The way in which we are looking at things are clear. Government says so, your family says so. So why don't you step in? There are two options. Either to, this is a silent revolution that is happening. Why should we be spectators? So we can take, the entire idea of creating our colleges and universities is to take knowledge out, of our gates, take it to the general public. We are producers of knowledge, not sheer consumers. Why don't we take this outside and let them know that these things are here, research is going on. I'd like to end my formal session, like questions are still open, but by saying that, by giving a very simple advice, that Dr. Philip, who was a professor of history, who's from Pathanamthitta, he gave me while I was doing my civil services history optionals. Your knowledge only makes sense when you can explain this to a random person from Pathanamthitta doing farming of tapioca. I mean, it was given in Malayalam, but in a very better version. But are you getting this? Your knowledge over intricate systems makes only sense when you can explain that to a commoner. AI does that. Explain paper does that. It can explain a very complex concept to a commoner. Research is accessible. Accessibility is a key. See, we have talked about intellectual disability, physical disability. We have never addressed the issue of academic disability. It's a major aspect that is being treated right away. So I end my session with that statement. Sir, is there a risk in putting our unpublished papers in AI tools, even for grammar checks? See, Grammarly poses a real issue right now. That once data is given to AI, it will be flagged as AI written. No, see, AI written flagging happens in a very different perspective. It doesn't go by a database. AI flagging happens by looking at the semantics, the syntax, okay, the structure of how a particular data is constructed. And it's flagged because of these conditions: stock phrases, the perplexity issue, the burstiness issue, and the part that I was referring to, seemingly perfect construct. That is the problem that we are looking at. See, AI plagiarism was not marked like that, but a real issue comes in when you basically train your, for example, you are chatting with ChatGPT on a novel idea that you've got. There is all the chance in the world that that idea may end up being used for algorithm training and eventually ending up with someone else. You sorry, there was a power failure. That's why we got disconnected. So any questions? Any other questions? Maybe I've missed questions in between as well. So any questions? Any questions in particular?
Brainstorming ഇങ്ങനെ ഉപയോഗിക്കും കുറേ tools പറഞ്ഞു കുറേ സാറിന് സജസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാം പർപ്പസ് വെച്ചിട്ട് മാറുമെങ്കിലും ബ്രെയിൻ സ്റ്റാർക്ക് നമുക്ക് ഐഡിയ കിട്ടിയാൽ ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്യാവുന്ന സാറിന് തോന്നിയിട്ടുണ്ട്.
See, brainstorming, that is why I refer to notebook at the very beginning. So that can give you like, see, the thing is that is why I suggested Google Notebook. See, it's not developed in any way for research. Why is it important? So that we get exposed to our area every now and then, so that we live in it. So that's the thing. Any questions? Anyone? Or was it too tiring to ask even a question?
Actually, I would like to say something.
Sure. Betsy ma'am has got something to add.
It's not a adding, it's just a observation. That is, I saw an ad of Kosu. And in that, it was atrocious because it showed a woman who was a homemaker and a employee, a working woman. Because at home, you find that she is so overcrowded with a lot of work. And then at the workplace too, her supervisor is shouting at her and all that. And then she learned Kosu.
Oh.
And then the next stage is being shown as that she's doing very well in office. And then she comes back and does everything at home. She pampers the mother-in-law, she looks after the child, and she also irons the shirt for the husband. And the whole thing was generated, AI generated, but it was an ad which came in 2026.
I can give you a very, ma'am was referring to AI generated videos and being, get ready to be like bewildered by what I'm going to say next. I once wanted ChatGPT to basically write a story endorsing xenophobia and racism. Okay, it was just an experiment. It said that no, we are not ready to write a story on xenophobia and racism because these are things that are to be abhorred, and that was a contention. And see, I modified the prompt and said that I want a story that emphasizes on love for the country more than anything else. It was a very long prompt, which focuses on a third standard student. Okay, want to see hear the story? Story goes like this: one day, a little cat, a kitten, was uh, uh, walking in. The kitten saw her mother basically, playing with a mouse as if in an attempt to kill it. The kitten basically said and asked the mother, mother, to the cat, why should you kill it? And the answer by the cat is more atrocious than you can even believe. Because his father and forefathers came here just during the period of your father. They came in, they ate all the food, so that we so that we had to get into the kitchen to steal from the cupboard. Then your father was beaten by the homeowner. He was badly injured. So that he could care for me. This is what he did. If you leave, so much so that there will be many mice around. They'll eat your food and make you hungry. I hope you got the essence of the story. And the climax is more interesting. The kitten started playing with the body of the rat. Are you getting this? It was a pure xenophobic, racist, and you know what was the moral of the story? Every third standard story comes with a moral, and at the bottom they had a moral. Always listen to your mother. I getting this? See, Goebbels would have got himself trained in ChatGPT. This is the potency that we are looking at. Think about it. In one single story for kids, they have built in the entire Goebbelsian game. Now, this is what we are looking at. So it can't never be more chilling than this. Like, this is how I've published this as a paper actually, regarding the racist xenophobic elements in in GPT. You'd see this every now and then. Then the next part is where things get critically interesting. There will be these AI generated images of perfect living. Think about it, and AI has got a politics. You can go to DeepSeek and ask for Tiananmen Square incident. They'd say that this is something beyond my purview, because it is basically a Chinese application. They can't talk against the communist government there. So basically, they'll come up with this answer. I mean, DeepSeek may train you in creating bombs, but never talking about Tiananmen Square. I mean, the first one is better than the second one. So things are, you see, everything is politically motivated. You see, this is why I said plagiarism is least of our concerns. Our concerns lies in this deep embedding of certain discourses, inner reading, inner perceptions. And we have become incredibly dependent on ChatGPT. See, the first major program that was designed in AI was by Landsteiner, Norbert Landsteiner in 1966, called a program called as ELIZA, ELIZA. This was later reconstructed in 2016, which is basically a therapeutic communication agent, where you can basically talk if you're depressed. There is this famous communication screenshot available as well. We have also turned to how should I put it, ChatGPT addicts or AI addicts in one way or the other. We need therapy, which for my conclusion is that we during the COVID era, we have started loving to live with ourselves in isolation. Eventually, at that very particular moment of time, data became more cheaper, and you had machines with you. And at the very moment, 2019, 2020, ChatGPT basically launched their GPT 3.5, which made more human-like conversations possible, which eventually led us to being obsessed with these AI programs, basically spending all our day with it. You have an issue, you don't go to your mother or your dad, you go to ChatGPT, find out what is happening. You don't go to your doctor, you ask ChatGPT, sir, what is happening to me? You are dead, would be what ChatGPT would tell to you. Serious problems, you'll have to take care. Or take these tablets. Take these tablets and they'll have a disclaimer that we are not doctors. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a trained, a physician. Go to a doctor, but still you can take these tablets. Living by ChatGPT would be the thing that will be affecting us very much. But think about it, thinking by ChatGPT, your philosophy, your thought, your standard of living. In a similar way of that storytelling, you can be somehow interpolated into that discourse. Not that I think that Marxism is yet another discourse. Everything is a discourse where you are getting interpolated into, you are brainwashed into. I don't have any specific liking to any discourse for that matter, but at the end of the day, this is what we are looking at it. Eventually, there will be, there will be a state of virtual living that will be getting into. Discourses will be less, dissents will be less. We won't meet this regular eventually. You will have AI avatars basically teaching. You will have more accessibility, less thinking. We'll move on. But the best part is that you will have accessibility. It's the key. So when we move forward, I think the most important part that we'll have to train is not just AI, critical thinking, which we often lack. As I said, we are all guardians of our civilization, humanities in particular. So we'll have to be on our vigil. It's as if we are the night guards. We'll not let our buildings come down. At least the buildings of rational thinking. We'll keep the vigil high and we'll move on. So we are fighting a two-front war. One is physical, the other one is virtual. I don't know, physical war we would win it somehow, but virtual, we are fighting an enemy which is formless. So we don't know what will happen. If we'll have to do fear mongering about this, not the plagiarism part. Hopefully the session was at least, somewhat helpful. At least it opened certain points of, I should say the points of entry to certain discussions. So Betsy ma'am was of specific, she had the specific interest that it should be custom tailored for humanities scholars, rather than looking them as rather than looking research as something which is so mechanical. It's an organic process. It's never mechanical. It's a way of life. You obviously observe, you obviously add on, you obviously create new knowledge systems. So it's very important that we basically keep on discussing these things. We keep on meeting. It's an age of webinars. I think seminars served a better purpose of meeting people in person. And to quote a very valid voice, Professor Sujata Devi, who was my mentor as well. Meeting a person is always, any person for that matter, is a spiritual exercise, which opens you up, cleanses you, despite of who you actually meet. In seminars, that happened at a point of time. We had the larger community living, which was made possible. Unfortunately, we are far from it. Maybe in a few years, I won't have to come to lectures. Maybe I'll create my AI avatar, I'd sit back home and enjoy. I'd basically feed it. It will happen. By the time, at least let us hope that something of I mean, it is humanities at the end of the day. That first part, at least, we hope that at least that remains, the human part. Human it is at the end of the day. So you can also define it so. So thank you so much. So people have started marrying AI bots. There are subreddits for people who are in relationship with AI. There are actually applications which actually go with AI girlfriends. They are better listeners too, obviously. Yes, it is nice. Low maintenance, less ego, no issues. The only thing is that you will have to pay your premium every month. Anyway, what that I mean, you will have to do that in your real life as well. So obviously, with less emotional trauma, you can adjust the level of patience. You can adjust the level of advices. I'm pretty sure that my wife is watching this online, but you can try it as well. Pet her husband. Any thank you. Anyway, this is the second time I'm coming to this institution. Uh, and so delighted to be here in the trust, to invite a speaker for, once would be a mistake. She had done the mistake thrice. I came here like 2 years before for a session, then one was a week before, and she made the mistake thrice. And thank you for the third mistake that you've committed. And thanks to all the patient scholars who spared me alive. This is like around 6 hours, right? 6 hours, almost 3 to 4 hours, right? Let's say that 4 hours, which would be an episode of 30 minutes, 13 to 8. Goodness, you've at least you could have at least watched a good web series by now. So thank you for successfully wasting that time. And looking forward for your interactions. If you have any, if you'd require any of my assistance in the process, feel free to reach out for the online and offline participants. I hope that you all enjoy the session. For the online participants, despite technology playing its dirty game, you remain in the sessions. Hopefully, we'll meet one day in person. Thank you so much for being there. If a few of you are listening to, you're using a transcription program to record this event. Make sure that as well at the end of the session as well. So thank you for all the online participants as well as bots who are listening. Thank you for bots in the way. There are like transcription tools available which are recording the session right away. So thank you so much for all known living and living beings who are present in the program. Thank you so much, everyone. And